Good evening, chaps. Here we all are again. Friday rolls around yet again. Excuse me. Cheers. Right, what shall we talk about? As usual, I have not a clue what I'm going to be saying for the next hour or so. It just seems to come out, and I always seem to muddle through. So let's, as always, take the register. Who have we got in? Who was first in? Excuse me, the chat's just taking a moment there. Wilson Jones first in. Congratulations, mate. Then we have Peter Collins, Edwin Toon and Danny Hancock, Mr. Wrong, Rob Bald, and Cal B. And quite the conversation going on between you guys there. And scroll down to who else we got in. Stephen Tatton, Vincent Brennan, Malcolm Spillett, Johnny Random, and who else have we got in? Let's scroll down. Scott Guitars. Evening, Dan. How are you, mate? David Evans is in. And who else we've got? Jeff Rock and Robster Boy. Robert, my mate Robert in the States there. You're probably at work, aren't you, Robert? But having a sneaky look at the live stream whilst the boss isn't looking. And we've got Dr. Gomez and Chip Young, and Luke's in. Chip Young, Simon M. Sorry, I've said Chip Young a couple of times, haven't I? And Simon M. Sometimes dim, never thin. Phil's in. And scrolling. Chris Ottewell, how are you, Chris? Rob Bald, and keep on going. John Channing, Ian Clark, evening Ian, Frank Carter, Dave Lewis, Anton's in, Jimmy James. It's starting to fill up now, isn't it? Peter S, Patrick Becker, and who else we got in? Das Schaff, evening Das, Dave Pegg. Grandpa Joe, evening Joe, the Essex Cat, Lawrence Hastings, and the Time Prophet, George Wall, Paul Trainer, the resident bass player, Billy Paul, and who else we got? And I apologise if I've missed anybody, but I think that's about it. So far, just looking at the stats on screen there, it says that 102 of you have joined me for a beer. I can't tell you how gratifying it is that 106 now people turn up to watch me talk rubbish for an hour on a Friday and begin my Friday evenings drinking, because it usually does, well, it always does continue after we finish here. Right, so as is the custom, I'd better tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. I'm glad you all seem to enjoy that. I'm now reliably informed it's called Faisley Telecaster copy unboxing yesterday. I've got another video on that guitar coming up on Sunday, and I think I'm probably still calling that guitar a Faisley in that video. I do apologise. I wasn't aware of the correct pronunciation when I made those videos. So we're giving that guitar a bit of a shakedown and hearing what it sounds like in a track, and what it performs like in a mix. Basically, that's Sunday's video. Then on Monday, of course, there is a solo analysis, and it's Clapton on Monday, which will divide the audience. I'm sure. It's there's always that he has his lovers and his haters, doesn't he? But it's from what I think his golden period, that one album that he recorded in 1970. I'm sure you know the one, Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, and it is, for my money, the most tender and emotional solo on that album. So anybody got any thoughts what that could be? Then Tuesday, a purely ratings-driven video, it has to be said. When I look at my YouTube analytics, the two videos that keep on kind of bringing home the bacon for me and paying, I wouldn't quite say paying the mortgage, but contributing a lot to it. Two videos I've done in the past where Harley Benton guitars should be banned. Here's why I disagree, and a sort of a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic, 5 reasons to avoid Harley Benton guitars. So, given that those kind of videos seem to get views, then I thought I'd do another one. Well, a pair of them, actually. It's the first of a two-parter. On Tuesday, we're looking at 5 reasons to love Harley Benton guitars. And then the following week, we're doing 5 reasons to not love Harley Benton guitars. And yeah, so that's Tuesday's the top 5 Tuesday video. Then Wednesday, as always, well, as is regular nowadays, I'm doing this rhythm guitar slot on a Wednesday, and we're on with blues guitar. The Wednesday video this week it's basically a blues accompaniment kind of the SRV vamp. It's a particular type of way of playing 7th chords or 7th chord riffs that Stevie used to do a lot of. By no means exclusively, it's not something that's exclusive to Texas blues or even Stevie Ray Vaughan, but it is something that you find a lot of in his playing. And frankly, I needed a title for the video, so that's what I called it. Then on Thursday, another sort of unboxing and first impressions video. I've gone wireless, and I absolutely murder guitar cables. These office chairs, like that one that you can see there, and the one I'm sat on now, with the little casters on them. I'm always running over guitar cables with them, and I go through about 3 or 4 guitar cables a year. And when you've got 25 quid for a decent cable or thereabouts, you can get them cheaper than that. That's usually, I think I can seem to remember what I was paying. When you can buy a wireless system for 35 quid, I just thought, well, it's got to be worth a try. So you can see my first impressions of that on Thursday. And then on Friday, well, we're back here again, kind of drinking beer and shooting the breeze for an hour. So that is what's coming up this week on the channel. Now, let me see what's been going on in the chat while I've been blethering, because I need something else to talk about. So scrolling back up. Also, we've got Johnny in from Budget Guitar Show. How are you, mate? And Time Prophet saying, just realised what's wrong with my guitar. It's the nut on the guitar. Yeah, a badly cut nut can really affect playability, and it's one of those things, isn't it? That it's relatively simple to sort out if you've got the correct tools to do it, and if you've taken your Brave pill, to kind of start kind of filing material away from any part of your guitar. But it's relatively easy to sort out, but it can really affect the playability of the guitar. If it's not right, it can make a really nice guitar feel really bad to play. Where are we? Obviously, we've got watches and guitars in, and what we all been talking. What you been talking about? Well, I've been. Is this the right place for a curry recipe? I can give you my curry recipe, Dudley Squat. But I don't know. It would probably bore a lot of people, and I do cheat because I use a pre-bought spice paste, so it's not entirely from scratch. John, is it have you ever loved a woman? No, it's not. Have you ever loved a woman? It's no. Well, I'll tell you, it's Bell Bottom Blues. I just think that's just so achingly beautiful. A solo on that, simple and not at all virtuosic. But then again, it's Clapton. It's not. Well, I suppose he was regarded as a virtuoso. When the Clapton is God graffiti and everything was writ large. But it's just, for me, it's just a beautifully played solo, and I think I got pretty close to it. Where are we? The nut on my guitar is bloody awful. Not the top nut, the nut that tries to play it. Yes, well, I suffer for a bit of that. What you got to realise, is every video that you see where I'm kind of doing some hopefully lovely sounding solo, there's a massive blooper reel. For every 2 minutes solo, there's about half an hour's worth of stuff that landed on the cutting room floor. And it was, I don't know, I rewatched that Rick Beato interview with Joe Satriani again recently. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. I mean, Joe just comes across really well in that. And he's talking about recording Surfing with the Alien on a Kramer guitar that goes out of tune if you breathe heavily on it. And, they're out of time in the studio. And people are kind of tapping their watches and saying, come on, your time's up. And that was actually the take that made the album, and he says for every track that he of his that he listens to, he remembers all of the awful outtakes that never made it onto the album. There's a thought, actually. I've noticed Glenn Fricker on a lot of his videos, he puts a bit of a blooper reel at the end. Is that something that you'd be interested in seeing? If I was to do that, because I think we know each other well enough now that that I could get away with doing that. All of the mistakes and outtakes and bum notes and things where when you're talking into it never seems to happen on the live stream. Actually, I don't know what it is, but quite often when I'm talking to the webcam and recording a video, there comes a moment where my tongue just immediately turns to, some kind of like a piece of liver or something, and suddenly like words don't come out my mouth, just noises come out. And usually it's when I've done a perfect take of part of a video and then I've got to do it all again from scratch. So if you're interested, I will do a blooper reel. That might be fun. Quite a positive response to the blooper reel. Yes, I will do that. It's usually the sort of thing that you get on the bonus DVD disc, isn't it? Top 5 cock-ups. Yeah, I could do that, couldn't I? Yeah, that would make a great top 5 video. I've got quite a few top 5s, lined up because, I'm a bloke and I like to make lists. That is something that my wife tells me all the time. She says, you love making lists of things, don't you? You love putting things in kind of order of preference. I said, well, yeah, because she says, no, she says, that's a man thing. That's a boy thing. So I've got like a lot of those types of videos kind of stacked up, ready to, kind of planned, really. I haven't shot them all yet. One great one that came up last week was top 5 female guitarists, or most influential female guitarists. I think I'm going to do because it's and it's something I have been criticised for in the past as being a bit too kind of male centric on this channel. But then again, I look at my my YouTube analytics and my audience is 99.6% male apparently, which is why I feel like I can get away with saying hello chaps at the beginning of every video. Budget Guitar Show is saying, would you like to collab and record a solo for one of my original tracks? I'd be delighted to, Johnny. Ping me an email. You've got my email address. Ping me an email sometime over the weekend and we shall sort out the logistics of how to do that. Yeah, absolutely delighted to, mate. Top 5 music documentaries. Get Back, probably number 1. Yeah, I would go with that. I've watched the whole 6 hours of it's about 6 hours. I've watched that all twice now, and I'm toying with the idea of watching it all again because I want to get my money's worth out of that Disney Plus subscription. I keep going in there to see if there's anything else worth watching on there, and I'm struggling. I've got to tell you, I'm struggling to find anything else on there that I want to watch. Although that McCartney 3-2-1 series was pretty good on there, where he's just having like basically a chat with Rick Rubin, and kind of talking about his career and how songs were kind of formed, and and reminiscing about the old days. I do like that kind of thing where there's some iconic album or song or something, and and it's you get a glimpse behind the veil. You get kind of a view about how it came to be in its final form. There's a fantastic documentary, you may have seen it, and I'm not sure if it's on YouTube, but it's probably floating around on the interweb somewhere, that Howard Goodall did on the Sgt. Pepper album. Really well worth checking out. If you're not sure who Howard Goodall is, he's an English composer and broadcaster, and amongst other things, he did he wrote the theme tune for Red Dwarf, which that says enough for me. Anybody that's got any association with Red Dwarf, they're always on a winner for me. Let's just have another scroll back up the chat, see what I've been missing. Anybody remember for Kelly from Girls' School? I remember Girls' School. Yes, they had that. What was that single they did with Motorhead? Time Prophet saying, I never look at any of my analytics, but my best video so far has over 4,000 views. Well done, mate. Well done. I don't, kind of go into my analytics, and get all forensic about it, I've got to admit, but I do kind of like to, just curiosity, I have a look every now and again, and, just more than anything else, to see what sort of videos are doing well for me, so I can, do more of the same of those kind of videos. It is a little bit, kind of a bit of a paradox, really, that I get so many emails and messages from people saying, "Oh, we love your lesson content. We love we love the theory stuff that you do." But I know when I do any kind of lesson type video or theory type video, or God forbid a jazz themed video, then I know I'll get like probably a quarter of the views I would get for a video where I'm taking a guitar out of a box. So, it's people vote with their mouse clicks, don't they? But it is what it is. And the lesson videos, I regard those as a bit of a loss leader, really, because they kind of drive people to me for like one-to-one or Zoom lessons. So, it all works out in the end. Yes, it was Please Don't Touch, wasn't it? The thank you, fun-loving Ramekin. It was Please Don't Touch, the duet with Motorhead and Girls' School. I think I remember buying that single, actually. Anyway, do excuse me, chaps. I do need a little more lubrication. In case anybody's interested, because you always seem to ask and tell me off if I don't let you know, Saint Etienne is the beer of choice tonight. This is the premium lager from Aldi, because that's where I went for the shopping this week. As much as anything you buy in Aldi is a premium, but it's not a bad drop. This, if you're near a branch of Aldi, go and grab some of this, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It has something of a kind of Stella Artois kind of vibe going on, which you can tell from the sort of branding on the can and everything. But it's I think this is what's this? This is 4.8%, which it's just that little bit more potent than Stella Artois. They spelt flake wrong. It must be flake B. Yeah, it's. Have you noticed the lack of the foamy flake head this evening? It's sorry to disappoint you, chaps. I'll try better on the next one. Dunsy's in. How are you, Dunsy? Hi, John. Hi, folks. Hope you're well, and you too, John. I'm multitasking, working, watching John, and shopping for a Telecaster. Gigging tomorrow evening, on stage at midnight. Oh, that's a late one, isn't it, mate? But anyway, glad to hear you're shopping for a Telecaster. Anything specific in mind that you're going for? Just a bare bones kind of vintage style thing, or something a little bit more modern and, with a few more bells and whistles? Telecasters are the desert island guitar, as far as I'm concerned. Anton's saying, are you chilling your bees? Every week they're chilled. They're up here. I bring them upstairs in this cool bag, and I've got a couple of these kind of ice packs in there, keeping them nice and cold. Same every week, mate. Yes, Wilson Jones, good point, mate. I like the Grolsch in the glass bottles. 2 of those is cheaper than a pair of Fender washers. I know what you're saying, mate. Yes. For anybody who doesn't, those little rubber rings that you get on the Grolsch bottle are fantastic strap locks. I've got time for the weekly gratuitous shot of Blondie here. You can see there, those kind of rubber ring things. These aren't off a Grolsch bottle. These are, I think I bought a pack of 100 of these off eBay for some ridiculously low price. And, just keep the strap secured. I do occasionally stand up and play, although you don't see me doing it in videos. Do you like the strap, by the way? Wifey got me that for Christmas a couple of years ago. It's got me logo on it and everything, or my old logo, but, So, yes, indeed. Grolsch, it has uses for beyond kind of having a beer. What are you saying, Dunny? 2:50 a.m. gig finish. Looking at Rittenhouse T62, nice beat up, which saves me beating up. Oh, DMA, yes, I think we're going to have to agree to differ on that one, Dunsey. I'm not into the whole relic thing, I've got to tell you. It's just, I don't know. It divides opinion, and you're either on one side or you're on the other. And I'm on that side, I'm afraid. Graham Campbell's not on the B because of the dreaded COVID. Feel like I've been run over by a tractor, but the live stream is tuning me. Well, I'm glad to bring a little sunshine into your life, mate. I had the dreaded COVID. Not long ago, actually. When was it? It was. I'll tell you when I got it and where I got it. It was, I don't want to harp on about it, but I was kind of going into hospital for cancer treatment, and I'm fine. I'm fine now. By the way, sorted, fixed. I'm all back to the peak of physical condition, as you can see. But what's the one thing you guaranteed to get when you go into hospital? Yes, I got a bout of that, and I found that hot toddies helped a lot. Whiskey, honey, hot water, and kind of rinse and repeat. Basically, plenty of those, and it got me through. And just that, and a couple of Nurofen every few hours, and within a few days I was right as rain. So hopefully you will feel back on form soon, mate. I see. I've kicked off a whole thing about Relic guitars, and Time Prophet saying, Charlotte strap locks. I used to use Dunlop strap locks, and I just found that I can't remember, because there's Charla and there's Dunlop, isn't there? The strap locks, and the ones where it kind of clicks into a little spring-loaded clip as the bit on the strap clicks onto the guitar. I'm never sure whether it was the Charla one or the Dunlop one that did that, but I used to find that spring used to kind of lose its force, and there was, then it used to become less secure than having the guitar on just a regular strap button. So I find that kind of washer idea is great. The only thing is, it's a faff around to take the strap off the guitar and put it onto another guitar. But then again, just have more than one strap and just have a different strap on each guitar. I see we're talking about Relics again. Yes. A lot of people are saying relic-free zone. Yeah, apparently we've got Keith Richards to either thank or blame, depending on which side of the argument you're on for Relic guitars, because he got, I don't know whether it was a signature model guitar, a signature model like Micawber Telecaster from Fender, or they just made him a custom shop guitar, and he said, "I can't play this; it's too pretty. Give me a guitar that looks more like me." So they immediately took it away and kind of made it look knackered and old. What's that, Johnny? The Harley Benton TE20HH is the best telly I've ever played. The ST20HSS is the best Strat so far. Yeah, those low-end Harley Bentons, you can say, oh, yes, but they've got ceramic pickups and this and that. But, the price of them, they're not quite as cheap as that Faisley Telecaster. But they're still ridiculous. I mean, I probably talk about this every week, and I will for every coming week. But the quality of cheap sub £100 guitars now in 2022 is just utterly ridiculously good. And I always think back to that awful satellite Les Paul copy that I had in 1980 with, a bolt-on neck and a plywood body and horrible, just everything about it was pretty horrible. But I loved it because it was an electric guitar and it was mine, and it was a step up from the Woolworths top 20 that I'd had before that, But just nowadays, it's like anything else, any other consumer good, the quality has gone up and the price has gone down as we've, got older. And, on the topic of amps as well, because you probably all saw the, the debacle that I had with the Spark amp turning up dead on arrival. I've got more to tell you about that actually as well. First of all, though, the headline news is, if I just pick you up and just brace yourself, I'm moving you. There is the replacement over there with the wireless plugged into it, and the new one works. So it's going to be, because I do these videos kind of quite a while in advance, there's going to be a bit of a review and a shakedown of the Spark amp. I know I'm late to the party. Every other guitar YouTuber did a Spark review 2 years ago, but I thought I'd just let the dust settle and kind of sit on the fence for a couple of years and then decide to buy one. But anyway, there's a bit of a thing coming up on that, and the point I'm making is that along with amplifiers as well. Do you remember when a practice amp used to be about 100, maybe 100 quid or thereabouts, and it would be 5 watts, and it would have like a 6-inch speaker, and you'd have volume, bass, treble, and maybe if you'd saved up an extra, kind of few months paper round money, it would have a reverb control on it as well, and that was it. And just amplifiers as well, because it's an electronic product, and it's the quality and sophistication has gone up and prices have gone down, and the kind of guitar tones you can get now for ridiculously low prices is just phenomenal, I think. Anyway, it's a shame Carlsberg don't make guitars. Um, you've brought back some memories there, Zuby. My favourite guitar is a 1980s Hondo Fat Boy. I think that's L5 copy. The quality is amazing. I remember Hondo guitars. You know, does anybody else remember that Les Paul copy they used to do called the Hondo Rainbow? And it was like a Les Paul copy, as I say, and it was available in, it was all like sort of bright Dayglow colours, like, you know, Dayglow green or pink or something like that. Now, Vince Brennan, now you have hit on a fantastic idea there, and that is definitely on the list. What about the top 5 most influential recording studios and producers? That is a fantastic idea. Consider that on the list. Lee Harris is saying, just dressing the frets on my new Epiphone Les Paul whilst watching the stream. Perfect. Yeah, Lee, I gather you must have had an Epiphone Les Paul like the Epiphone Les Paul I got. Not the last Epiphone Les Paul, which was the classic worn, Epiphone Les Paul classic worn, which was a lovely guitar, you know. But the one before that was the Epiphone Les Paul Studio, and the frets on that was shocking. It was ridiculous that it left the factory in that state, to be honest. Top producers, John Hammond, indeed. Yes. I might even do, well, I've got an inkling to do like profile type videos where I'm doing like a video on a particular influential person. I just haven't got a slot to do it at the moment. I'm quite liking the top 5 videos, and I'm quite liking, you know, the you know, the kind of schedule I've got with a solo analysis on a Monday, top 5 Tuesday, Wednesday lesson, Thursday review, Friday be a stream, Sunday solo. So I'm struggling to find a slot for it, but I'm thinking of at some point doing like, you know, a bit of a kind of a biography profile style video on various influential people in the guitar and music realm, and John Hammond would definitely be a candidate for that. Top 5 flicks is a good idea. If you want to drastically change your tone, change your speakers. Yes, you've been watching Glenn Fricker, haven't you, Dash Shaft? You know, I mean, it stands to reason, doesn't it? You know, that the thing that actually produces the sound, the final link in the chain that turns an electrical signal into, you know, sound that hits your eardrums, you know, that is going to have a massive impact on the sound of that you make, you know. So, yeah, why wouldn't it? Excuse me. What's this? John, how about you go on a walk to your local cash converters and come back with the best value for money guitar in the shop? Do you know what? I have to go past cash converters not every day, but certainly every time I go into town. You know, because if I want to go to like any of the shops that I go to the bank, go to Greg's, because I do like a sausage roll. Surprise. But, you know, basically I have to go past cash converters every time, and I always nip in and see what they've got in. But at our branch of cash converters, it's a bit slim pickings, really. There's always just some ratty old Gear for Music Strat copy, you know, that's that you can buy new for about 80 quid, and they've got it on for 60, and it's got 5 strings which are rusty, and you know, and it's. I mean, I bagged a Yamaha Pacifica in there for 60 quid. Oh, 2 or 3 years ago now, which I did a video about, you know, and modded it to basically being like a 311. But yeah, I do kind of go in quite often, and I don't suppose they'd mind me whipping my phone out and filming the transaction. So yeah, it's one to think about, mate. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Colin. Went to Red Car Cash Converters a couple of days ago. All the guitars that they had were firewood at best. I do go in every now and again. I mean, I've told this story before, but I do have a bit of a, not exactly a problem with cash converters, because they are what they are and they do what they do. They know when you take something in there, the only reason you're taking it in is because you need money and you need it now. You can't afford to wait to put it up on Gumtree or eBay or Reverb or something. I had a beautiful Telecaster that I took into their USA Telecaster, and I took it in, and they gave me 160 quid for it. It was in immaculate condition, and they gave me 160 quid for it. And their excuse was, well, no, I'm sorry, mate. The best we can, the most we'll get out of this is 199. The guitars just don't move in this shop. We're going to have to price it to sell, so we're going to be putting it up for 199. So I can't give you any more than 160. And as you know, when you take something in cash converters, you've got a month to buy it back. And this was back in, I think, 2013. And like a month later, because we were absolutely on the bones of our ass back then, me and the missus, and so basically I took the 160 quid. And a month later, when I hadn't been able to buy it back, I was walking past the window, and this guitar that he told me he could only give me 160 quid for, because the most they'd get for it was 199, was up for 499, and it was gone the next day. So it's not the fact that he scalped me; it's the fact that he lied about it that rankled with me for a wee while. I don't mind admitting. If he just said, well, I'll give you 160, take it or leave it, and because I know you're desperate, then I would have probably found that a bit easier to take than, the whole kind of yarn that he spun. So anyway, I don't want to turn this into a bitter and twisted live stream. Oh, I see we're over the 200 figure, 201 watching me talk rubbish now. Let's see what rubbish you've been talking in the chat. Where are we? So Marco is saying top 5 producers. I think Martin Birch needs to be near the top. He produced some albums for rock gods like Deep Purple, Rainbow, Iron Maiden, White. Yeah, Martin Birch. Yeah, I mean, didn't he do Number of the Beast? I mean, that is, I'll be honest with you, about as heavy as I get when it comes to metal. And I did hear a discussion a little while ago where, because the term heavy metal has meant different things over the years. I remember buying a compilation album in about 1981. It was just called Heavy Metal. And I think Rocky Mountain Way by Joe Walsh was on it. Yeah, even then, I think, that's stretching it a bit. But I heard a discussion or read a discussion lately where people were saying that Iron Maiden weren't a metal band; they were more of a classic rock band. So it did smack to me of a little bit like that. I use this reference all the time, but I'll use it again now. That scene at the beginning of Monty Python's Life of Brian. Are you the People's Front of Judea? That. No, we're the Judean People's Front. That's the Popular Front of Judea over there. The whole kind of fragmentation of classic rock, hard rock, heavy metal, heavy rock. It's just all music, for crying out loud, isn't it? Surely the fifth Beatle, Sir George Martin, gets a mention in the top producers. You would think, wouldn't you? Another guy I would put up there is Jimmy Iovine, actually, because I heard an interview with him again. I reference this show all the time, but they used to be on BBC Radio 1 in the 90s. They used to be, basically what they used to do is they used to kick all the adolescents out the building on a Saturday afternoon and play grown-up music and do grown-up stuff. And there was an interview with him on there, on this Saturday session, I think it was called, with Richard Skinner. And he was like the T-boy or the kind of gopher or something in whatever studio John Lennon was recording in at the time. And it was at the time when he was doing that rock and roll album, with his version of Stand By Me, which is probably the standout track off that album. And everybody went out to lunch and he was just kind of playing on the desk. And, when everybody came back from lunch, he was caught kind of messing with the faders, and the engineer said, "What are you doing? You get out of here, you young imp!" And and apparently John Lennon said to him, says, "No, you go and sweep the floor. When you can set on a mix as good as this kid has done, then you can be in charge of the desk." So that was like his. It sounds like a little bit of an apocryphal story that's kind of got the lily has been gilded as time has gone on, but it sounds like it's got a kernel of truth in it. And that was, apparently his entree into the world of being an engineer and then a producer, and and so on and so forth. Roy Thomas Baker, indeed, yes. Well, he did Night at the Opera, didn't he? So he's got to be on the list. This is, top 5 producers. Already, I'm in excess of 5 names, and it's going to be, well, how do I not mention that guy? How do I not mention this person? So that might be another one of the 2-parter videos. Excuse me, I need more lubrication. Everybody get ready. This might be the flake. Let's see. Let's see how this one comes out. It's not looking good, I'm afraid. You're not going to be able to shout flake at me this evening. Let's see if I do this. See if we can get a decent foamy head on it. It won't even flake if I do that, I'm afraid. Sorry, chaps. Tune part. I tell you what, Steve. You're the Mr. Steve Hoggett. I see. That might be a good discussion for us to have at some point. So get ready for an email from me, and we can have a talk about that, mate. Hope you're feeling better, by the way. Anti-flake. It was flattening. At least I hope it was the beer he was shaking. Yes. Oh, I see people are spelling it out individual posts. Big Bocky. That's you I'm talking about, mate. I nominate Alan Parsons for Dark Side of the Moon. Again, if that was the only album Alan Parsons had ever been involved with, then, that would deserve him a place on the list, wouldn't it, really? Because Dark Side of the Moon is one of those albums that you forget how good it is. It's just part of the well, yeah, it's Dark Side of the Moon. I know it's great, yeah, but just if you haven't listened to it in a while, just go and put it on and listen to it end to end. Headphones are a must there. Just kind of give the dog a bone to kind of gnaw at for an hour or so, and kind of, in my case, let the missus watch Emmerdale Street and Coronation Farm and whatever for however long it takes it to watch that sort of stuff, and just put the headphones on and listen to Dark Side of the Moon from beginning to end. You know how good it is, but you'll be surprised. I'll guarantee you'll be surprised if you haven't listened to it in a while, just how fantastic an album it is. It's one of those things. It's like you can listen to it again and again and again, and never ever gets old. Tales of Mystery and Imagination, Parsons. Yes, indeed. Yeah, now there's an album that you mentioned just there, Moses. Tony Visconti, Live and Dangerous, Black Rose and Heroes. I would definitely talk about Black Rose as an album, because it's just an album that, Thin Lizzy fans know it. But why that isn't regarded as just an out-and-out classic rock album? Name a bad track on it. There just isn't one. And I mean, the title track speaks for itself. I am thinking about doing a solo analysis on that at some point, by the way, but it's like, there's just so much to choose from on that. And I'm conscious that it's Gary Moore, and I know I'm a big Gary Moore fanboy, and it's like I could easily turn this channel into, and let's look at another Gary Moore lick, and let's look at another Gary Moore solo. So I've got to kind of restrain myself. But yeah, Black Rose, I think it's a absolutely stunning album. I think for me, it's Thin Lizzy's best album. It's their masterwork. And the production on it is absolute. I mean, and a track on there I absolutely love is With Love. I think that's a fantastic track. Just the production, the songwriting, and the solos and everything. Great, absolutely masterpiece of an album. I like it. Can you tell? Where are we? Robster Boy saying, I agree, Dark Side of the Moon's top 5 albums of all time, great from start to finish. The Wall is good as well, but I think Dark Side of the Moon pips it at the post. What's that, Johnny Love? How's the Larry Carlton 335 guitar going? The Larry Carlton range must be the best bang for buck guitars currently, from what everyone is saying. I absolutely love it, mate. I have to ration myself playing it because I would play it all the time, and I do have gratuitous shot of Blondie number 2. The Larry Carlton guitar is a beautiful guitar. This is a gorgeous guitar. Every time I pick this up, I always think I never want to play anything else, and then I pick up the H7, the 335 style guitar behind me, and it's just like, oh yeah, well, this is quite good as well, At the moment, I did that video a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? Where the top 5 guitars in the room at the moment. At the moment, it's it's Blondie there and the H7 that are vying for the top slot. Where are we? Phil saying, I can't deal with The Wall. It's great, but a trauma. Yeah, it is. It's, it gets a bit kind of dark and creepy in places, especially towards the end, I think. No, I'm with you there, Maiden Man. I like Division Bell as well. It's when they came out with A Momentary Lapse of Reason, the first post Roger Waters album. Roger Waters was quoted as saying it was a brilliantly executed forgery, and I gotta say I kind of agree with him. I'm thinking this sounds like a very good Dave Gilmour solo album. And then the Division Bell came out. What was Momentary Lapse of Reason was what, 87, and Division Bell was 93, 94. And I remember listening to the Division Bell and thought, no, this doesn't sound like a David Gilmour solo album. This sounds like a Pink Floyd album. It had that extra something that made it sound like a Floyd album. And I love the Division Bell. I think it's a great album. I think it's up there with, well, is it up there with Dark Side of the Moon? Possibly not, but I think it's certainly a better Floyd album than The Final Cut. And and to be honest with you, anything before Dark Side of the Moon with Floyd, for me, you can kind of keep. I think maybe Medal. That's when it was starting to slot into place. But for me, that they had a long apprenticeship, Pink Floyd. All the early stuff like Piper at the Gates of Dawn and Saucer Full of Secrets, it's just it is of no interest to me, I'm afraid. I just don't get it. I don't dislike it, but it's not something that really floats my boat. But yeah, Dark Side of the Moon, and then Wish You Were Here, and from there on in, really. The final cut, you could tell that was a band basically fraying at the seams and falling apart. I think it comes across in the music. But yeah, Division Belt, fantastic album. It proved that Floyd could exist without Roger Waters, basically. Dave's Mrs. Polly wrote the lyrics for Division Belt. Yeah, so you've probably all seen it as well. There's that documentary looking at David Gilmour's career, where they're interviewing him and they're interviewing his missus, and and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's well, she's credited as a writer on all of the tracks, isn't she? Yeah, Jeff Rock. Gilmour said about The Wall, it was rather a whinge. It was, as I said earlier, it gets quite dark, and I'll reiterate, it gets a bit creepy towards the end, and but there's some good tunes on it. I mean, In the Flesh, that's a ballsy heavy riff, isn't it? That's a fantastic, got to be one of the top 5 classic rock riffs of all time. And, I mean, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, the one that we all probably bought as a single back in 79. There's a pub trivia gem for you. What was the last Christmas UK number 1 of the 1970s? And people always go, was it the Slade one? Was it the Wizard one? No, it was Too Early for the Pogues. Was it Boney M, Mary's Boy Child? No, the last Christmas number 1 in the UK was Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. There you go. Mike's in. How are you, Mike? CGS. Nice to see you, mate. I will probably be catching your live show on Catch Up, I'm afraid, because I have to go and do family stuff after this. And who's talking about Shakin' Stevens? Mind you, have you heard any of his more recent stuff? It's not what you think. Oh gosh, ages ago on the Patreon podcast, I played one of his more recent tunes, and it's surprising. It's not This Old House or Old Julie or anything like that. He's gone really sort of earthy, rootsy Southern rock. And if your only knowledge of Shakin' Stevens is, some of those slightly cheesy 80s rock and roll kind of things where he's wearing the chunky sweaters and stuff, then just go and check out some of his more recent stuff. You will be surprised. Yes, Das Schaff. Love a bit of Shaky, the Star Striker for Fulchester United. I see a Viz comic fan there. What's this? Can you do a vid about how to survive an almighty mistake mid-solo and still find a way back? The best way I've found, and I've mentioned this before, when you have come into a solo that's in A minor and you've come into it in C minor, or something like that, when you've absolutely summoned the ghost of Les Dawson, mid solo, the best thing you can do is, because the audience hears something wrong, and they're going, what the hell's going on? And if they see you flashing a filthy look across the stage at the bass player, then that's all the explanation they need, and you're off the hook. Oh, thank you, Con. Let's put that up. Dave Gilmour recorded the bass parts on the albums. I didn't know that. That's news to me, mate, but thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Wilson Jones is saying if you drop a note in the solo, just glare at the bass player. Yeah, Billy Paul saying that. Sting was talking about this years ago in an interview, and he was saying that, like, because the Police had like a really meteoric rise within 6 months, they went from playing, small clubs like CBGB's, and then they're playing stadiums. And, nerves got the better of him. And at the time, I think he said he was playing a fretless bass. So nerves and an instrument with no frets on it. He would drop the odd bum note every now and again. He says that the trick is to keep a straight face and play the same bum note 4 bars later, so the audience think it's, just some weird jazz substitution. I see comms there. Some of the ghost of Les Dawson. That's how I approach my scales. For anybody who's not, of a certain age or not from the UK, Les Dawson was a British comedian, and part of his act was that he would play the piano and play well-known standards on the piano, but badly, like so badly that it took expertise and skill to do it that badly, and he knew which was the note that you played flat or played sharp to make it funny. Just go and look on YouTube for Les Dawson playing the piano, and you'll see examples of it. It's it's funny. Try doing chords on a fretless guitar, virtually impossible, I'm told. Yeah, that fretless guitar thing, that's been touted a few times, isn't it? Vigier, how would you pronounce that brand name? Is it Vigier or Vigier or whatever? I'm going to say Vigier. But they brought out the fretless guitar again. I think it was back in the 90s at some point, wasn't it? And and you can't play chords on the damn things. It's like, spend 500 quid on this, or probably more, on this guitar, and you won't need to learn to play slide. Yeah, I think I'd just rather learn to play slide, because that's the one thing that it does do. It basically makes normal, if you can call it normal, but non-slide guitar playing sound like slide guitar playing. But it's again, some company will probably resurrect the idea once the dust settles again, and it will be touted as the next greatest thing once again, and it'll fail to take off once again. Anyway, chaps, I'm almost at the end of my final beer. Not my final one of the evening, but the final one I brought up here. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And there's a curry downstairs waiting to be warmed up. And I am getting a bit peckish. So thank you again, once again, each and every 201 of you for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern gobshite talk cobblers for an hour. It's incredibly gratifying that you turn up every week to this little soiree that I throw, and thank you, each and every one of you. And I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.